Everyday heroes, extraordinary vision, stories and inspiration from our world to yours. This is WSA Radio.
I mean, the thing here is, I'm not so young myself. I'm 45 now, in my 46th year already. I don't know where the time went. And, 37 when I met my husband. And at that point also where I think I was kind of maybe bang smack in the middle of that age group, the two age groups that you're talking about, in the sense that I hadn't had any children. But this was my second marriage, and I was pretty grown up. Do you know what I mean? I wasn't 25, ready to have children finally, and then just found that actually I couldn't. I had just gotten past that age where it was possible for me to do it. So I'm not that young girl. I'm not that woman, up in her 50s or 60s yet, but I'm also not that young girl. And here's my thing. What I want to be able to do in every movie is say, you know what? You are not brown like Dido Belle was. You are not a man like Lord Mansfield was. But I want you to be able to feel and empathize with their journeys.
Yes.
So for me, it's about making sure that whenever you tell a story, that there are stories within that story, in the sense that each character has a full story that reaches out and touches hearts and allows people to empathize and resonates with experiences they would have had. So for me, this is about not cutting out the experience at all of any older woman. I mean, obviously, with any character story you tell, you're specific to their story. So there's always going to be an element of other people's stories that aren't in there. But the feelings, the emotions, and the situations, I guarantee you in here, are those that we have all been through if we have remarried or if we've had a husband who has remarried. And these are universal feelings from that point of view. And interestingly, though I've been a first wife, I've never been a wife whose husband has gone on to remarry. And yet it was so important to me that our first wife in our story is somebody who resonates, with everybody. That you may not have actually walked in those exact shoes, but you go, I get it. Mm-hmm. I get that. I get why she feels that way. I get why this is happening. I get why this is unfolding. So I really, really hope that actually, whether you're that 25-year-old girl who's going through this, or you're that 65-year-old woman who has older children, that you will feel and understand the humanity of these characters, why they feel the way they do, what they're going through, and why they respond in the way that they respond. I want that with every character, and I want women to be able to identify with men, and I want men to be able to identify with women, and for nobody to say, oh, it's a woman's reaction. Mm-hmm. Nobody to be able to say that too easily. Although, you there is an element you want to entertain, and so you want women to be able to go, oh, I've been there, and oh, he shouldn't have said that. You kind of want that as well. So for me, I feel like I'm in a good place right now to be able to kind of reach out and address the experiences of a variety of ages, because I'm looking forward to that time. Where my parents come from in Ghana, age is something that is revered. Mm-hmm. It's respected. It's wisdom. It's about experience. And, for me, the older I get, the luckier I feel in many ways, because I'm learning so much. Mm-hmm. And also I've got to that point where I realize I'll never know it all. Like every day is a school day, which is so fascinating for me. And so, what I hope is that I open up insights, actually, even to those older women who might have thought, okay, I felt like that, but I was never sure why.
Right.
And now this is making a little more sense to me. Or, okay, I didn't get when my girlfriend was telling me that she felt A, B, or C, but now I kind of get why she was on the phone that morning when I was desperate to run off to the supermarket. And now I really get how she felt. Like, that's what I hope will happen.
And from the way you've operated in your previous films, I have a feeling you will be very successful at that.
Everything crossed.
Well, you know what? Just the fact that you're willing to want to identify with people at a very fundamental feeling level, that's all it takes. You can connect into someone and evoke those emotions again. You're going to identify with them, and they're going to find something. So, are you allowed to say, or has there been a choice for leading actresses in the film?
I am so not allowed to go there just yet. It's so early
Yes.
from that point of view. But yeah, announcements will be made. And look, for me, what's so exciting is this is a double female lead.
Yeah, that's amazing.
And double female leads for a director, that's lovely. That's a joy. So I'm excited about that. And whoever these women will be, it's important that they have good roles, and it's important that I can collaborate with them to get really great performances to tell this story in the best way, and that's what I'm excited about. But everything else, I'm like,
You have a message in your heart, in your life, in your DNA that you were given from birth. You may still continue to be unfolding what that message might look like. Because as you said, we're being, the beauty of getting to be a certain age is that you do identify that you've now become a lifelong learner. You haven't stopped. You're now in that process of enjoying learning. So in wrapping up, you're going to be heard all around the world. Different women from different cultures everywhere. What is your message in your DNA that you want to deliver to the world as much as you could possibly know it right now?
well, here's the deal, and this kind of ties into to what we were talking about a moment ago in terms of making sure that women of all ages can identify with the work that I put out. And I recently had, and I'm sure she won't mind me saying this in this context, an amazing dinner with Lena Dunham. And we were just talking, and, this woman is so incredibly amazing in so many ways. And one of the things she said to me while we were talking, and this is why I say every day's a school day, and you never know where the education is going to come from.
Exactly.
And she said to me, we as women, we're taught to believe everybody else and disbelieve ourselves.
Wow.
And I had this most amazing epiphany moment where that is something I've known and understood, but nobody had ever said it to me so articulately. And that's why we have to be open for the lessons to come from everywhere, the young, the old, absolutely everywhere. And I've not forgotten it. It was a couple of months now ago that she said it to me, but I've not forgotten it. And so, part of my journey is about learning to trust me, trust my gut, trust my instinct, and trust that that instinct has value. And that's probably, the message of my movies as well. These movies are about women trusting their gut. And when they don't, that's when things don't necessarily follow through quite in the way that one would hope that you as an audience member would be rooting for your heroine in the story. So my message is one of really knowing that your gut instinct has value, and that we often know what's good for us. We often know what's right for us, but oftentimes we're kind of afraid to follow through on it. And I really thank Lena for that message, because as I say, it's with me daily, and now it's with me in a much more, when we talked about words and quotes, that's one that's up in my study now, and it's certainly the message that my films put out, but now I can articulate it in words, and that's a gift to me.
That's beautiful. I just want to ask you one question. So I'm in the theater. I've just spent, 2 hours going through Unforgettable. I came with a bunch of my girlfriends. We went into these new fancy theaters where they serve wine. We've just laughed and cried and sat on the edge of our seat. And the movie's finished, and we're not able to move because we're so impacted by what we just saw. What would you want us to be feeling in that moment. I think of movies like The Passion of the Christ and Schindler's List. I know this is a thriller and I know it's an entertainment value, but from what I've seen you do already and how it's impacted me, I can only imagine there's something sitting there. What would you like that to be? And then we can already revisit it later on once the movie's out and see if
Yeah.
that's so.
I mean, it's something that I have to think about before every movie as well. Is what is it? And before every script, there are like 3 or 4 words that I write on a piece of paper, fold them up, put them in a drawer, and I see if they come back to me in the form of reviews once the movie's done, finished, made. So, so it's an interesting question. I mean, the first thing I hope people think is wow, always. The second thing I hope people think is, I'm so glad that there are female directors out there. And I really hope that both men and women think that.
Right.
And I hope that actually the message is exactly the personal message that you asked me about earlier, which is that, our gut instinct has value. And thank God XXX followed her gut.
Beautiful.
And it's a reminder for me to follow mine.
Beautiful. And believe me, very fresh in my life as well. And I think we're all experiencing that.
Yeah. We do as women. Guys don't hesitate. That's a really good feeling that they give, that they don't hesitate in following their gut. And we need to more often, I think, much of the time. And we find ways of doing that and meditating. And there are many forms in which we can explore how we follow our gut, as long as we do.
Exactly. Thank you so much. Thank you very, very much for your generous amount of time.
I really enjoyed it. Thank you so much.
I did too. Thank you so much. And we're going to be excited looking for your new movies, and all the best to you in your personal life. And are we going to hear about you moving to Los Angeles or to America, or are you going to keep your home in Europe?
Well, I'm going to keep my home in Europe, but sure, I will be spending long stretches in North America for sure. I think that's often part of the process with movie making. But I enjoy a life that allows me to do that allows me to experience both. And, just the last year or so that I've spent a lot of time in America, once again, I've grown. Living out here in Holland, away from England, I've grown. So exploring, it's always a good thing.
Hey ladies, would you like to be part of a powerful group of women who are moving and shaking and up to big things? Well, join the community at WSA and get started today with a free associate membership. Just log on to www.joinwsa.com. That's www.joinwsa.com.